Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the back nine of round number 3 here at the Beaver State Fling, presented by Keen. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and joined by Robert McCall, off-site, off-location. Robert, we're here for the back nine on the West Course, round 3. We got a great group here for you.
Yeah, this is the chase card of the chase card. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but this is actually our card here at the Beaver State Fling. And fantastic group of players. We've been catching some good action on the front nine. Excited to see how they manage the back, and just to really see what weather swings we get, because we started sunny and then had some rain and then quite a bit of wind as well.
And Wysocki off the front nine is 5 under par. He's pulled ahead of the rest of the group here. Hole 10, 450 feet. This is a really tough hole. In fact, it plays as the third hardest hole on the course relative to par.
Yeah, that would have been my guess as well. Just well-executed roller is about your only shot at getting close, especially with the wind moving right to left like this. Because I love Bradley's line right there, but it looks like it's getting smashed a little too early because of that wind. Without it, he might be able to carry a little bit more.
Well, and if you've seen a few of the other holes out here in that, they're really good at having protected greens. And if they're not protected by large trees, they're protected by low-hanging branches. And
right. This hole, is pretty perfect.
Yeah, it is a good-looking shot. He's going to actually be close to pin high and on the right side of the basket. And Josh with that stutter step. Look at this. This is a smash for being in the air.
Yeah, that's absolutely crushed. And he didn't care about the wind at all. Got some good turn and good stability to fight the wind.
And Bradley found that left side. He couldn't quite fight all the way through. Just a few steps in front of them is Josh Anthon. As you can see, so much more of an open putt.
Right, and that's a difficult putt. His leg is between two trees right there, kind of having to step around in front of the tree to get a legal stance, but no matter to him, he just jams it.
Well, and I'll say I cut out a good 25 or 30 seconds of Josh kind of going back and forth, and Ricky, same thing. He really is struggling here with what his best stance is, and you can see he switches it up, and
easy money.
You got it. So 2 birdies, and Williams right next to the basket, and now Doss can make it 3 for 4, which is just incredible here on hole 10.
And he's going to be disappointed with that. I mean, when you walk up to a hole like this as a competitor, you're probably thinking it's likely that you'll walk away with a 3. But when you're close enough to get a 2, man, that hurts. It can just take the wind out of your sails, even though you're going to get the score that you kind of plan on getting.
Yeah, when you're given that opportunity and you're so close after throwing such a great drive, I guarantee you there was no other card in the tournament that went 3 under, and these guys just went 2, but there was no card that was for sure going 3 under on that hole.
Right.
Now this one, you're coming out of the tunnel. I opted for the catch where Ricky just about hit me, and you're coming out of a tunnel and you really want to throw it out to the right. You can play a straight hyzer. You saw Ricky actually turned it over a little bit.
Yeah, flexed it.
If you play the straight hyzer, you're fine. You just want to make sure you push it with enough distance, because if you come up short and you hit one of these earlier trees and you're not wide enough, you're going to be in jail, and that's exactly where Bradley Williams is.
Yeah, it looks like that just slipped out a bit early on him. The weight on Anthon's disc was nearly perfect. It looks like he's pinned high, about as good as you could throw a backhand on this hole.
Until Nate Doss does almost the exact same thing.
Yeah,
so 2 really well executed shots.
Absolutely. That's well played for Bradley. Looks like he wasn't going to be able to get all the way to the basket, so he just played to a landing spot where he might give himself a chance at a putt.
You saw Wysocki's aggressive run at this. This green is just perched up on a little bit of a hillside, or a little mound, I should say. You don't want anything to get away from you too much.
Sure. That was likely a good tree for Wysocki then.
Very much so. And Robert, you've mentioned a couple times you expect a putt to go in anytime Anthon throws one up, but that one outside the circle, but no good.
That's a scramble and a half for Bradley there. Impressive 3.
Very much so. He was just a step inside Anthon there when he made that putt. That was to save the 3, like you said. And we're going to see some pars here. Birdie's not all too common out here, and this, in fact, does come in as the second toughest hole on the course, averaging 0.32 above par.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you said, if you try to get aggressive and hug your drive too tight to the left and come up short, it just doesn't seem like there are a lot of options. So well played by those gentlemen for sure.
Hole 12 also perched up on a little bit of a mound. And you need, this is a power shot. You need to throw it about 400 feet, almost dead straight, and that will give you a look at a birdie. And anything outside of that, more or less, is going to be a layup.
Bradley knows he hasn't quite gotten the stand-up he needed on the disc. Looks like he might still have a putt, and the distance is fine, but just not quite the flight he was looking for. And Doss with just a bit too much turn on his. We saw Josh Anthon fall prey to this same error. So they'll be pitching up to try and take par 3s here. And that's a favorable little kick, I'd say.
That forehand does work out for him. Maybe there's a little love. Lucy and Marcus Burks out there spotting, giving a little karma out on hole number 12 here.
Also, Bradley actually did come up a little bit short, forced to take that forehand and hyzer up to the basket. And Ricky's actually pretty short as well. Just flies the right side, yeah.
Yeah, he's able to give it a good run. And Josh, most people would think, oh, you got a little bit of work here, but this is, 22 feet uphill. Josh is going to make that routine.
Yeah, you ought to count that one pretty much all the time.
This is a great spot, too, because the gallery can kind of hang out here. They can watch hole 9 finish up. They can watch hole 10 tee off, or 11 possibly, and then 13 isn't too far behind them. So you usually see a little collection of a gallery back here, which is great.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good group, especially for the next to last day. We aren't even to the finals. Like getting to see some spectators out there.
And thinking that this is our third card, knowing that so many top-notch competitors right around the corner as we move on to hole number 13 in the last 1/3 of the course. You've got plenty of room here on hole number 13. It's 700 feet. Really, the only big mistake is to go hard left. If you finish anywhere left, you're not going to have a run-up, or you're going to find some long grass and some other stuff. But just about anywhere out in the open should be fine otherwise.
That's well played by Anthon. Looks like he's far enough back from that tree to have a decent approach of the basket. Bradley's trying to bite off a little bit more and has a good initial angle on that roller. Finally getting it to move right, but that looks like a good shot to me.
It is. He may have a slight turnover when he gets to throw his approach, where this hole does set up naturally for a righty hyzer to the basket. And,
sure.
And Doss, like Anthon, are going to have, to me, that is really the premier spot to be in. And here's Ricky from that far right side. He's throwing a forehand, and that one just gets away from him. I mean, that is that's 50 feet, 60, maybe even 80 or 90 feet from the pin.
Yeah, that was leaking right all the way.
Doss able to throw a mid-range, and just, I think the wind pushed it down, but that wasn't enough power.
No, on those little chip hyzers like that, a lot of times it's easy to get lazy and just think, oh, I made it farther than I thought. I don't need to throw it quite as hard, and maybe just not follow through. And it's probably a combination of that and the wind that kept Doss from penetrating all the way to the basket.
And again, the low-hanging branches come into play as it's protecting that green. We're feeling the wind, and the rain wants to start back up at this point. And this is Doss for birdie.
How much of a drop behind that basket is there, Terry?
It's not too bad. You'll see Williams in a moment. Now, Ricky approached from the right side all the way here to this left side. He went deep of the basket. So this is actually his 4th shot. We missed his 3rd because he threw quickly. I know, shocker.
Right.
But what a great par save. He's got to be happy with that. It was a little more work than he was looking for, but a good par save nonetheless.
Absolutely.
So here's Williams.
So a bit of a drop off, yeah.
Yeah, there is. And I was surprised to see that go that deep as William makes a really good comeback putt. And I believe that's going to leave Anthon. He's looking at a par, or I'm sorry, at a birdie here. A relatively short one. And now is looking at a par.
That is very uncharacteristic. I've always loved Josh's approach to putting as he jams it in there. I've always loved his approach to putting, and that's just a fearless one. Just, all right, I'm just going to throw it in there. I don't care if it goes past because I'll make the next one. So, yeah, kind of surprising to see him miss some of those. That's very uncharacteristic for him.
It is, and we see very little color here on the board. And look at back, now we've got the rain coming. And I opt to go down the hillside. Now, earlier they were teeing off on hole 5. That kind of shares the same tee area as hole 14 does. And they're throwing down to this green. And I got to admit, I think I missed a shot here. One of the tee shots. The rain was coming down, and it was getting dark, and it was really tough to see what was going on. But this is DOS.
Yeah, and that's not a light drizzle either. This is the sort of rain that probably adds a stroke on most holes to the difficulty. You know, it's not just, all right, I dried off my disc, now I've got good grip again. This is difficult playing conditions, no doubt about it.
Anthon is approached to within 15 of the basket. Let's see, all the umbrellas are out. Oh.
Ooh, and a great run.
And this is Williams' second shot. He had landed there off his tee shot. And this hole comes in as 0.12 above par, or I'm sorry, below par. You're rarely going to see a 4, and you're rarely going to see a 2. This one pretty much plays as a 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wish I could putt that quickly and know that it was going to go in every time. I have to go through a routine, you know, like a regular person, but Ricky just goes up there and tosses it in.
Well, there's jokes of Raincoat Ricky and how quickly he gets up and throws, and he's a fast player to begin with. So I tell you, when he's working under umbrella to get his disc dried off, he's up and throwing, and you better already hit record, otherwise you may miss the shot. And I'll admit, a few of my shots came in a little quick because Ricky's just up and running and ready to go, and that results in a whole bunch of pars. And Ricky goes with the alternative route here. The play, as you'll see, is the most competitors will throw straight at me as I'm kind of at the dog leg. Mm-hmm. Playing a righty backhand, and Ricky tries to force it up on the left side with the forehand, and it works for him. And it also worked for Anthon.
Yeah, just as you said, that's headed right for the camera the entire way, and then just started fading left at the right time.
And for a righty backhand, I think this is a natural backhand drive. It's just a matter of how far can you get it to skip straight once it's made the turn.
Yeah, Williams caught a little bit of an unfortunate pine cone right there. He was skipping well, and then just knocked off probably 10 feet off his skip. But we've got everybody looking at looks like an opportunity for a bunch of 2s here. Whether they're close or not is different from person to person here.
Doss almost up after taking my head off there at the dog leg. He was just a few feet behind me. He's got a good look, but the branch gets in his way. And this hole is almost identical to the previous hole. And you're not going to really see too many 2s, and you're not going to see too many 4s. So it's averaging right in the middle at 0.09 below par.
Yeah, that makes sense. What I want to know is the tough questions. Is that did Nate even apologize for almost hitting you with that disc?
I'm sure they were all chuckling back at the tee, and Ricky had a look at birdie there, and Anthon also has his hand dried, and he says, I'm going to get up and putt right away to try not to let the moisture get to him.
There we go. That's more like what we're used to seeing. Dead center. That's a great 2 for Josh there.
So just the fact that we saw both, well, really the whole card have chances at twos are somewhat impressive here. And as you said, Anthon, the only one able to capitalize. Par here is not bad. You're not mad if you're walking away here with a 3.
Yeah, that's what it seems like for sure.
Well,
Ricky might not be happy.
high expectations and a little more color on that scorecard. Josh Anthon with the birdie. That brings him to 17 under par, tied with Williams. Dynamic disc, doing more than just disc golf. Some ultimate action. Get yourself an aviator.
Yeah, I know I'm biased, but I really like throwing those. I like this added stability for an ultimate disc. Just you can lean into it a little bit more, in my opinion, and I enjoy it.
Well, this is a pretty routine shot. It's only 250 feet. It's got the slightest incline, hardly worth mentioning, actually, but you're just trying to throw it straight out and have a little bit of a fade, try and avoid that tree, and you're going to have a look still at a birdie even from that position. Ricky throwing that harp, I believe, just too tight.
Yeah, that's a miss. This has to come in as one of the easier holes on the course, right? Probably 4th or 5th, at least if I had to guess, just because it's a routine hyzer for these guys, and it's not long.
Yeah, it actually is the second easiest hole on the course.
Second easiest, okay.
And you saw Wysocki, who was way back there. He had a very quick approach. And great birdie putt there by Bradley Williams. And the rain is still there.
Yeah, it's still coming down. Yeah, that's beautifully done, man. Anytime you have that much rain, drying off every disc, it just gets really tiring. Wow. Really tough putting day for Josh Anthon. You don't expect to see that.
And Wysocki with a 20-footer to clean up for par. Bogey for Anthon on again, the second easiest hole on the course. So we're going to see the birdies by Bradley Williams and Nate Doss, the par by Wysocki, and then the bogey by Anthon. Not what you would expect to see on this hole.
Yeah, bogey there is going to feel really, really bad. And I don't mean to rub it in for Josh or anything, but that's one that you walk up to, and par almost feels like bogey sometimes.
We're back to the LC, low ceiling, and that's that's a theme out here. 381 certainly drivable for our top pros, except for you can't get it too high. And I love the creativity here by Wysocki, just not the execution there.
Yeah, that's a bad bounce, but it wasn't a great angle to start with. Although the play on that, is missing to the right. If you get lucky and it stays straight, then you're golden. But that's a tough line, and this is a beautiful throw.
It is a great shot. It's still flying. Alyssa, excuse us. It's still flying. Alyssa Van Lannen capturing photos out there.
It's like Alyssa doesn't even care about your shot, It's like, come on.
She got her photo.
Yeah, she's out of there. That's funny.
So a long run there previously. Now this is Williams with a long run. He just tickles the chains. And Anthon's left with a birdie look. Josh.
Just short again. Wow.
Josh.
So it seems to me, having never played here before, and this Beaver State is on my bucket list. I will make it out and either play this event or just at least get to come and hang out with our players. But it seems like you're going to have a lot of those 40, 50 footers. And if you're hitting, you can really put together a solid round. And if you're missing, it can just kind of feel mediocre.
Exactly. A little bit blah.
Yeah.
As we're watching the rest of the group all tap in. Ricky had, again, quickly approached, which brings him to there. I had missed the approach because I was on the other side, and he taps in for the par. So all pars all around there on hole number 17.
Yeah, well, we got one to go with Ricky still in the lead on the card. And this green looks like it's really only accessible by backhand roller. Is that accurate?
That is, or of course, unless you're a lefty like a Devin Owens who's got just plenty of power to drive the green as a left-handed player. But if you want to get there as a righty player, you really need to throw a turnover roller like you're seeing.
Sure. Well, and at 509 feet, I mean, even a straight shot is going to have a hard time getting there for a lefty. It'd have to be pretty much a full power flex, I would guess.
And if you're going to miss, you need to miss to the right. Correction, you need to miss to the left.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Being out in the open on that left-hand side is perfectly fine. You'll have plenty of room there. What you can't do is get pinched up too quickly to this right side, because that's just jail, and you have really no good way to get to the pin. So that was a good miss by Wysocki being out in the open on this left-hand side.
Yeah, this looks like one of those holes that if you walk off with a 3, no problem. I don't think you're going to be very upset. Oh, Bradley won't be walking off with a 3, though.
He's going to be running down the birdie, too. What a huge putt / throw-in approach thing.
Yeah, you love to see those go in. That makes the round feel a lot better. Not Bradley's best round ever, certainly not a bad one, but finishing on a big birdie like that feels pretty good.
And this actually comes in as the 4th hardest hole on the course, averaging 0.09 above par, which is 3.
Yeah, I believe that. Bunch of 3s, not very many 2s, a few 4s, and maybe your occasional got in the rough on the right 5. Yeah, I mean, 2 there feels almost like eagle, I would think.
It certainly, and it was a great shot by Williams. We're through 3 rounds as Doss is about to clean up. We're through 3 rounds, 1 to play. You know, Ricky started out really hot here. He had 5 out of the front 9, but then only managed to get 1 more birdie on the back. So he's going to finish this round with his 6 under par. But it was a fun group to watch. And Robert and DD, I got to thank all you guys for supporting the extra coverage here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Anytime we get to talk about disc golf, man, I enjoy myself.
All right, well, there you have it. 19 unders overall for Wysocki and Williams. We'll catch you guys for the 4th and final round.